time on the understanding and explanation of traditional estimation techniques. This is not an exhaustive list that we are going to discuss in today's class. These are some of the techniques, and there are other techniques as well that we are going to discuss as we move along, because they require the understanding of WBS first. Starting off with the analogous estimation, which is a traditional way of estimating projects. Analogous estimation, first of all, some comments about these techniques. These techniques, the same idea of estimation may apply at a project level broadly, may apply at a phase level of the project, may apply at a deliverable level, may apply at a task level as well, or like whichever level you want to estimate, it's possible to do that. Because later on we are going to see that it doesn't happen this way in the project, in the real life projects, that you apply altogether analogous only on a project, or you apply altogether parametric estimation only. Most of the time it's a combination or an amalgam of different techniques, whatever applies in that situation. So that aspect is important, and it applies in a unified way on all traditional based estimation techniques. Now, coming back to the analogous estimation. Analogous, the dictionary meaning of analogous is something similar to some other thing, or some aspect similar to some other aspect, like analogy. Creating analogies is like mapping something to some other thing. So that is exactly what the analogous estimation is, that when you are estimating a project, you are estimating that project by referring a past or a previous completed similar project. It's very, very important that it should be similar in nature. Similar means maybe similar kind of scope of work, similar features, similar way of execution, similar tools, techniques, similar kind of planning, similar kind of team execution, expectations of the customer. Right? But at the very same time, I'm not saying same. Same and similar are different, in the sense that same means everything is same. The timeline, the start date, the end date, the budget, the resources, the based on the actual project definition, a project is a unique endeavor. So a project can't be the same based on the constraints, like exactly same. You may have different timelines, you may have different resources, you may have different customers. Maybe the same thing you are doing for a different customer. That would make it a different project, right? It's going to make it unique. So it's similar, it's not same. From the exam perspective, some keywords that may help you in understanding that they are talking about analogous estimation over here, because they are not going to say it right away. Right? They are going to give you some hints. So the keywords or the hints for the exam for analogous is if you are seeing the keyword as previous or past, if you are seeing the keyword as similar, if you are seeing the keyword as completed, which is very important. If it is an ongoing project, then you may refer it for analogous. However, that may be a risk, because it's not completed and you don't have the actualized data which is needed for the analogous estimation of the current or the upcoming project. So it's better to refer this estimation from with respect to a completed project. It should be in history. It should not be current. Right? Yes, so these are the keywords, and you may get some keyword as historical or history as well, right? Which is the same thing as previous or past. So if you are seeing these keywords or some of these keywords in the question, then most likely they are talking about analogous estimation. Now I'm going to take a use case. Of course, it's a made-up use case, and there can be many other use cases that may apply to Analogous. But just to explain it better, and the other techniques which we are going to discuss in today's class in a better way, we are going to use the same use case. So you may take any previous completed project. Maybe it's a website, it's an application, a mobile application, a product, any project, right? And you are referring probably a phase of it, right? And you have an upcoming project which is very similar in nature to the scope of work and other major constraints of the project with respect to this past completed similar project. So by seeing the past project plans and actualized data, because once it is completed, what does that mean? It means that you don't only have the planned data for that project, right? You do have the actualized data. Actualized data is what? The materialized data, right? So one aspect is planning, and one aspect is how much of that planning is fulfilled, right? Which is the actualized data. So once the project is completed, you would have the actualized data as well, right? And that is exactly the reason why the analogous estimation is used for the other projects planning. So for instance, the past completed project and its plan and actualized data tells you that the project was planned for 10 days. For instance, how many features? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are the different features, right, in that project for 9 features. And the actualized data tells you that actually, so this is a plan. And the actualized data tells you that actually the team took 15 days to complete these 9 features and to deliver the project to the customer. Okay? You have all these details available from the past completed project, which you are referring for the current project's planning. Okay? So if you have a very similar scope of work, maybe for a different customer of different set of stakeholders, the similar kind of 9 features. By the way, analogous estimation is a very common technique. This is not theoretical at all only. Maybe you don't call it with this name, but it's very, very usual that we refer the past artifacts or past plans or past different other registers or project documents to help us understand that how the upcoming project planning should look like. So it's very common. Because, and of course, we are going to refer the past projects only when it makes sense to map this current project to the previous project. The similar 9 features is expected to be planned for a new customer or for a new project. So based on the past project details, how you are going to plan the new project? Total number of days. What would you say? 10 days or 15 days? What comes in mind? That something is very similar in scope for the current project, but the previous project tells you that it was planned for 10 days and completed in 15 days actually. So the project overrun on the scheduled round actually in the project management language. When you are going to plan the similar kind of project with a different customer or different company, how would you plan it? By seeing the past project data.
This time we will make the planned date as 15 days.
Yes, very, very good. It should be 15 days. Otherwise, what's the point of learning from the previous project team? What you are, if you are again going to make it 10 days, then what you have really learned from the previous project team's mistakes? Nothing. They have made a mistake. You are going to make the same mistake. So analogous estimation gives you a lot of flavor or a lot of insights about what has worked versus what has not worked for the team, for the previous team, for the similar kind of work uh, that you are planning to do in your work. Lessons learned. The PMI calls it lessons learned. So it should be planned for 15 days now. The planning date should be 15, and of course the actualized date is not going to be available because we are in the planning phase, right? So the actualized date doesn't apply in the new project. I know multiple questions must be coming in your mind that what about the other aspects, the time, the budget, the resources. I'm coming to that part. Now this is what the analogous estimation is. Something similar makes sense to you for the current project. You check the that previous project plans, and at least for the important constraints. And what are usually the important constraints of the project? Schedule, budget, or resource, scope, and quality. These are the important constraints of the project, which is also termed as triple constraints. At least for this, we always look out while planning any project. So at least for this, if that aligns with your current project, then analogous estimation applies. Right. So if I talk about the pros of this technique, it's first of all, it's very simple or easy to use. Right. It's very economical for the reason that no expertise or senior or expensive resources required. Accordingly, it's not expensive. Not expensive or economical is the same thing, right? It's very straightforward. It doesn't require a lot of documentation is needed. However, a lot of people are not needed. Maybe 1-2 people in the planning phase, they can easily take that up by themselves, and you do not need a very huge planning team to go for it. So you may not need like a lot of expertise for this technique to apply. A lot of planning related expertise is not needed for this technique to apply. So if it is I would not say that the large scale, complex, critical or high risk projects should be planned this way. No, not really recommended. This type of technique usually applies, either you apply it in bits and pieces, for instance, on a particular phase or on a deliverable. If you think that this deliverable looks very much similar to some other deliverables that we have done in the past in any project, and not the whole project really can go the analogous way, then like I already told you, this may apply. Right? Otherwise, on a whole project basis, usually the small to mid scale and less risky projects are best suited for this activity. Less risky or less strategically important projects would be more suitable if you want to apply it at a project. What is the con side of this technique? Now let's talk about that. The con side is that if any of the constraint is different, any of the major constraint is different, then this technique is going to fail. Be it applied at project level or phase level or deliverable level or task level, it is going to fail. What does that mean? For instance, on this scenario, I have not really talked about the resources and the cost as well, right? So for instance, on this project, or maybe it's not a project, it can be considered as a deliverable as well, because 10 days, 15 days usually doesn't apply very well on a project level. So for this deliverable, the past records or the past plan and actualized data tells you that 2 resources had completed these 9 features in 15 days, right? And for this current project, which is very much similar in the scope and with respect to the nature of work as of past project. However, you are not going to get more than one resource on this project. The analogous estimation is going to fail over. On this ground, the analogous estimation is failed because resource or budget is a very important constraint in any project or in any deliverable. And if that is, it's not missing, but it's different. It's not analogous anymore. So on this ground, analogous is not going to work. So in other words, scope, requirements, schedule, timelines, budget, resources, if all of that looks very much similar, then you can use the analogous estimation in its true sense, okay? Which is just following the plan and just mapping it forward. So you may say that why can't we adjust the schedule in a way that it still may work, but not like as a mapping. You are actually very right in your head, but that's a different technique. That's not analogous. Analogous in its true essence is what I have just explained. So, any questions so far?
Yeah, there is a question like if we are to use analogous estimation, it means that if the current project is exactly the same as previous, only then it would be used, or we can have like a generalized example of what we did earlier in the past project, and we can fine tune as per the new requirements. As per what you just said, we don't fine tune it.
No, fine tuning, the fine tuning may have a broader perspective. However, at least, like I said, at least these critical constraints of the project, they should be similar for the previous project and for the current project, for analogous estimation of them. And accordingly, like I already said, that small to mid scale or like the smaller scope of work usually are best suited for this estimation to apply it as per the expectation. If you talk about a whole 1 year project, 2 year project, 10 years project, most likely analogous estimation is not because something is going to be different than the previous project. But if you talk about a deliverable which is 10 days long, 15 days long, or maybe shorter than that, and you want to apply analogous estimation for planning, that may work really well if the constraints are same or similar. If you want to fine tune, then you have other techniques. So in this case as well, we need to fine tune that how it's going to work for us if there were 2 resources in the past and 1 resource over here. Right? We need fine tune it, right? We need to adjust it in a manner that it still is going to refer the past plans and past artifacts, but it works for us with a less planning effort and a less planning cost. So that other technique is parametric testing.